Hi, this is Andy with NachoNacho, a place where you can manage, discover, and save on great SaaS products. And today we have our second Nacho Tuesday, which is a special moment where we get to interview founders at great new startups and SaaS companies that we feature on our marketplace and help put the spotlight on them. Today we have Greg, who is the founder of Planless.io, and we're about to give him a 1-minute elevator pitch and then learn more about his company and some tips from him as a seasoned entrepreneur that might help all of you startup founders out there.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Andy. It's really a pleasure. And to tell you very quickly what Planless is all about, I have been personally managing projects and teams all my life, almost 20 years now. And I've always faced the same type of issues when it was coming to planning projects and optimizing resources. And so we created Planless, which is the first real-time planning and resource optimization tool that allows teams to unleash some planning superpowers. And it basically builds the perfect work plan for you and your team, and it adapts to changes instantly. So basically, the main problems that we're solving is that, first, on average, only 40% of projects are actually being delivered on time and on budget, but also that people spend more than half of their time on work tasks instead of focusing on actual meaningful work. And so the problem is that, first, there are so many constraints and variables that we have to consider when planning our work that it's very difficult to figure out what's the optimal plan, but also that there are constant changes every day and that it's very difficult to understand the impact that all of these changes are having. And while there's a lot of great tools out there to help us manage projects and collaborate efficiently, the problem is that when it comes to planning and resource management, in all of these tools, it's always a very manual and ineffective manual process, right? Where we have to plan all our tasks manually, we have to allocate resources manually to these tasks, and we have to optimize our team's workload manually. And with constant changes happening every day, we're just good to push everything around and basically to restart all over again. And so basically we created a solution where instead of doing all of that manually, we leverage the power of algorithms to take into account all the constraints and variables that we need and basically calculate all the planning scenarios and possibilities to create the perfect work plan, while at the same time automatically allocating the right resources to the right tasks and optimizing team schedules and workload and making sure that people are always full of work but never overloaded or underloaded. So that's it for the quick 1-minute elevator pitch.
That's pretty good. So do you believe that the biggest problem with most companies and what they get wrong with resource planning and optimization is the manual work? I mean, it takes time. There's a lot of human error. Is that kind of what you guys are getting at with your product?
Yes. So first, there's a lot of companies that just don't plan, which is already a first problem. But even when they do plan and when they're using great tools for doing that, it's always very manual. And so at the end, the fact that there are so many variables and constant changes, they're just kind of ending up guessing their way forward, right? They don't have really a data-driven approach to that. They just come up with what they feel is the best organization to deliver the work that they have to do and kind of hope for the best. And so here with Planless, we're taking a more data-driven approach where we really take into consideration everything, and we calculate all of these planning possibilities that we humanly are not capable of. We're not capable of doing this computation and calculating out all of these possibilities. So it's really a help to figure out what's the best organization possible based on everything that we have to do and all our constraints that we have.
Great. Can you tell us more about how your company was founded? When did you guys get the idea to start working on this project?
Yeah, sure. So like I told you before, I have been doing that in the last 20 years. And this is something that always frustrated me a lot. And I have been using all the tools out there and tried a lot of different things, but none of them really solved this problem. And I was always hoping that a project management or planning tool would leverage a bit more power from AI, etc., to be able to do that better, but none of them was really doing it. There has been some attempts, but it was not really working. And so at some point, I decided to tackle the problem myself. And so in the beginning, I did it for my team at the time, where I developed a little algorithm for us to better organize our work and our schedules. And very quickly, I saw a lot of people that were telling me that this is something that they were suffering from also. And so that's how it all started.
Great. What were the results of that first project that you guys put together to test your hypothesis?
Well, the very first thing that we did is we asked ourselves, is there really a market opportunity there that is worth pursuing, right? So I remember at the time I did a little test where I just reached out cold to some companies. At the time, I was working very closely with a lot of marketing agencies. And so I just reached out to a bunch of them. And in a matter of 48 hours, I think it was, we signed 10 lifetime deals that were around 1,000 euro at the time. And we're like, okay, like now we have a set of 10 customers we can start working with. And this proves that there is really a market for what we're doing.
That's great. So what other tips, it sounds like you've accomplished a lot as an entrepreneur. What other tips would you give other would-be entrepreneurs that might want to launch a SaaS product and get some initial traction?
Well, many, right? There's a lot of things. It's not my first venture; it's my fourth, and I went through a lot of trials and errors along the years. But it's the first SaaS really that I've built, and I think that one of the most difficult thing is to really validate the market before building anything. If I had to restart, I would try to maybe sell the idea even before building anything and developing anything. And the second part I think that is critical is to build in public. Build a tool with customers, with users is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of entrepreneurs, and heck, even myself when I was first getting started, right? You kind of learn trial by error, I guess. But some people build a product and then they bring it out to the market and try to, in search of a customer. Whereas, you know, what you're saying, and I totally agree with, it's great to build a product. Well, first understand the customer and build a product for them. Sometimes it's yourself, but it's great to validate that product with an actual customer base. I mean, heck, even if you can do it on a napkin before you even actually put any development work in and actually spend a bunch of money to get a product done, which, you know, your customers might not even like if you don't consult them from the very beginning.
Yeah, then there is a very tricky thing, right? Is to figure out what is the right thing to build, because people give you a lot of ideas, but like I think Henry Ford was saying, if I were asking what people wanted, they wanted a faster horse, right? They were not capable of seeing the potential of building something else like a car. Mm-hmm. And I think this is also something that is very important, is really to understand not what people want, but what they're struggling with, and understand really deeply how we could solve it in a new and different way that would really actually solve the problem, instead of just trying to build what they want.
No, that's totally right too. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, they ask their customers what they want. Their customers, a lot of times, like you said, don't really know. They only know what they know. And so they're going to ask you based within that box. But yeah, if you go right down to the heart of the issue, like what is the actual customer problem? Can we use either a more efficient method or better technology that might be available to actually better solve this problem than how they're currently doing it? But yeah, that's definitely the key there.
Exactly.
So what are some obstacles that would-be entrepreneurs have to look out for when starting a company, besides some of the stuff we just talked about?
Well, obstacles, there's gonna be every day, right? If I had to be totally honest, I think the most common one is to understand the complexity of what product market fit means. Mm-hmm. I myself struggled a lot with that, because one thing is the product and another thing is the market. And in product market fit, you have both sides, right? And it's not about building only a product that helps people solve a problem. It's also having a way to market it and to sell it. And this is a thing where I see a lot of startups having a lot of difficulties. They have an amazing product, but they don't have necessarily a great process or a great channel to be able to market themselves and to sell efficiently. And so then they're not capable of scaling up. So that's, I think, one of the biggest obstacle in the life of a startup, is to figure out their own product market fit. And it comes with a series of failures, right? You have to fail until you actually find what works. And that's why I think that the most critical thing for an entrepreneur is resilience, because you need to take all of these failures and just keep pushing until you figure it out.
Definitely. And you got to be objective too, right? So, when you get this feedback from people, you have to, first understand what's good feedback, what's not good feedback, and take all that, don't take it to heart too much, but listen to all of your customers and listen to all the feedback you're getting, and use that to, improve your processes or improve your product from that. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that are afraid to actually listen to the customers, and, they think whatever they have is the best thing since sliced bread. And if your customers don't agree, then unfortunately you're not going to get any customers. And I've seen other cases where you have amazing product guys, developers that don't know how to communicate the narrative for the product in a meaningful way that really connects with their target audience and gets those people excited about the product. And then I would agree the experience aspect is probably another area that a lot of people overlook. So how do I design a product experience, not just the features that I have, but how do I design an experience that customers, can easily understand how to onboard with the product, how to use it, how to realize value.
And fall in love with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been through it all.
Exactly.
So what are some early growth tips you would provide for aspiring entrepreneurs, aside from, getting your first customers and getting that initial traction?
I would say partnership and referrals. Having a network of partners that can help you expand into different niches and industries is a very critical thing. And referrals also. I think the most important thing is that you're capable of making one customer successful with your solution, so that you can then easily ask him to refer you to people that he knows. And one becomes two becomes four, and so on, right? I think this is one of the best thing to do to have an exponential growth is really focus about your customer and delight them with an amazing experience. And that's the easiest marketing you can do is word of mouth, right?
Yep. No, I definitely agree. A lot of people try to scale marketing as quickly as possible and hack growth per se. But it really starts from doing things that don't scale, as Paul Graham said. Getting your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 customers that are really happy with your product. Even if you have to put in a lot of effort to, manually onboard them, you're going to be learning something the entire way from those customers. Maybe your onboarding experience needs improvement. Maybe they don't understand what your product does because your narrative or your marketing pitch sucks. Maybe you're missing that one critical feature that would really get people really excited about your product. And, even if it's done manually, those close engagements with early customers will give you that foundation you need to set up a scalable growth strategy after that.
Yeah, I think one of the not too used, but that should be used more is cold emailing. Cold emailing in the beginning asks you to allows you to really understand if you have the right pitch, if you have the right messages and the right target. If you cannot have at least a 50-60% open rate on your emails and a good reply rate and see engagement, it means that you have first to work on how you present your solution and who you're targeting. Also, it's not only about the message, right? It's also the target that is very important. And so this is a growth tip that I think is worth exploring because it costs almost nothing, except maybe a lot of energy. But yeah, this is definitely a tip that I would recommend any SaaS entrepreneur to go through in the beginning.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great tools out there for that now. We carry a lot of those in our marketplace, actually. One of which is a Phantom Buster. There's another one that's not in our marketplace yet. It's called Snove.io. We're looking to add them soon. And then there's Apollo.io, of course, too, for generating leads, which is really effective and cheap to actually get them.
Exactly.
And then what email marketing tools do you prefer to use for cold outbound?
Well, we do actually use Apollo a lot. And then we have created our own systems because we wanted really to be in control of everything and not necessarily spend thousands of dollars every month in the beginning for the great tools. So we've built a lot by ourselves, but we're mainly using HubSpot, and then purely emailing, we're using SendGrid for the sending parts. But yeah, the combo of these four elements between Apollo, HubSpot, SendGrid, and our own little magic behind, this is what we're using today.
Some great tools there. Where do you see organizational planning evolving over the next few years? What new trends or technology do you think will be important, and why?
That's a very difficult one, and I don't have a magic ball, but from talking about this subject every day with people, I kind of see some trends going on. One is the shift that we see in Agile. In the last 10 to 20 years, a lot of companies went towards Agile, but now we're seeing a lot, understanding that Agile also comes with a lot of problematics. And so I see Agile taking a big turn in terms of organization inside of teams. But I think that the future will really rely on two things. The first one is assisted decision making, having AI and tools helping people in making better decisions. But also, I think that machine learning allows to learn from behaviors and adapt and evolve and be more and more consistent with what is happening in a company and in a team. Yeah. This is, for example, something we're working on Planless, where we have our algorithms that are capable of doing all of this magic. But now we're also starting to learn from the team's behaviors to start making that more and more precise over time and adapting to the reality of things. So I think this is kind of what I'm seeing as the trends in the future, is to really leverage technology to make better decisions and to adapt to reality.
That's a great point. Yeah, I think context really matters too, especially for artificial intelligence. Just so the more you can pair that great technology with behavioral learning and actually understanding how people think and operate, it's a really powerful combination.
Exactly.
What are some favorite books that you're reading right now or have read over the last year that you would recommend for other entrepreneurs?
So unfortunately, in the last 2-3 months, I have been too busy and I haven't opened the book, but I used to read a lot. I would say, directed to what we were saying before, we're talking about advices to entrepreneurs, etc. I think two are like kind of my go-to. The first one is really about how startups grow. It's Crossing the Chasm.
One of my favorites.
It's really an amazing book, and I think that every SaaS entrepreneur should read it, because you need to understand this. If not, you will never be able to scale a SaaS company. Yeah. The second one is more on the sales part, is the Challenger Sale. A great book that one of my sales coach recommended to me when I started working with him, and that changed really my perception on what selling is all about. I'm not a sales guy, but I had to learn it like every founder of a SaaS company has to learn to sell. Yeah. And it has been a great revelation to read this book.
Oh, that's great. I got a recommendation for you, actually. Have you ever heard of Blinkist? I found myself really busy too, being a startup guy, and I've downloaded the Blinkist app and I got their subscription. And you could really go through a book in like 10-15 minutes and do a couple a day, or even one a day, just to kind of get the meaty parts of every book out there. And then if you really like it, then you can find the time to read the whole book too. But I found that to be really, really helpful for me, especially when you get that 15 to 30 minute window when you're maybe your hands are busy cooking dinner or something like that. You could throw on an audiobook and get one done real quick.
Exactly. I always wanted to try this out and I never did it. I will have to.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely recommend that one too. We're all about recommending great new products over here at NachoNacho. So we don't have Blinkist in our marketplace yet, but hopefully we will someday. So what's one thing you want potential customers to know about Planless and why they should pick up Planless over any other tool that might be in the market to unleash their planning superpowers?
Well, I would say that to understand that Planless has a different approach than anything else on the market, we're really trying to reinvent a bit how people organize their work, and it requires some changes and some effort in the beginning to be able to really unlock this magic. I see too many people being too impatient today with new SaaS products, where like if they don't see that it's like super easy to in 5 minutes do what they want to do, they abandon. And we did see a lot of that with our free trials, of people just like staying 5-10 minutes and then they're like, okay, I will have to do some setup here to actually make that work, and I just abandon.
Yeah.
So I would say that people that want to try it out, just make the effort of taking half an hour to just set up a bit the tool in the beginning, but also to understand really the philosophy and how it works, because it also requires a bit of shift in mentality on how you organize within the team to make that actually really work and have some really great results out of it. For sure, people that do the effort of doing that will see great results, and the one that don't will just quit the solution after some time because they just want to keep in their old ways of doing things.
Yeah.
So I would say that this is the main thing that I'm telling to people is like, don't try to figure it out by yourself. Book a call with one of our experts. We'll go through a demo really focused on what are your needs and etc. And we explain you really how it works. That's generally the best way because we can really make you realize what is needed to make that work for you. And we can even help you do it.
That's great. No, I totally agree. I mean, resource planning and organizational, like an organizational product screams long game, right? So you can't be moving too fast when you're trying to actually organize your company properly and make sure that you're planning everything the way.
Yeah, but I think that people got a bit pain averse with SaaS, right? Where if they don't see something amazing in 5 minutes, they abandon. And there's not only very simple products in SaaS, there are also very complex solutions, and that are worth maybe the effort to really get the power out of these tools at the end, right?
Yeah, definitely. It takes an investment if you want to get your company organized. So
exactly.
What's next for Planless? Where do you see the company in 5 years?
Well, that's a difficult answer to give. Again, I don't have the crystal ball, right? And we have big dreams and big ambitions, but I would say maybe our desire is just to build the best way to plan and optimize projects and resources, to work very closely with our users to really build the best solution out there, keep improving it day after day. And I would say in 5 years, if we can be seen as the reference on the market for planning and resource optimization, that's kind of a good goal.
Great. Well, Greg, I really appreciate your time today. We're excited to have Planless on board with NachoNacho. If anybody's interested in this great tool, and if you want to up your planning game and organization within your company, you can find it today on the NachoNacho marketplace. You can get 30% off cash back. So feel free to check it out today. And once again, everyone, thanks for joining us today for NachoTuesday, where you could learn about great new products like Planless. And check out NachoNacho today to manage, discover, and save on the great SaaS tools, just like Planless right here. Once again, Greg, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. And
thank you for the invite. It was a pleasure, Andy, to have this chat.
Likewise, and we look forward to promoting your product and hoping that both our companies grow over the next few years. So
that's the goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.